everyone, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this video. Well, I guess for today I thought I could do, I don't know, I'm not even sure if it's gonna be a real-time video or not. I've been kind of sick lately, last couple of, I don't know, weeks, for 2 weeks, and I really did not record anything, and right now I was just missing it so much, so I decided to do a video. I'm not even sure what I'm gonna do, and you can hear it in my voice that I'm still kind of a little bit sick. It was some sort of sinusitis, or I'm not sure if that's how it's called in English. So well, I guess I had some issues, and right now I just feel a lot better, and I did wanted to paint, and I did wanted to share a video with you. I did do paint a bit while I was sick, when I could have, when I was feeling up to it. So I do have this little sketchbook that I wanted to share with you. It's not really a lot. I did not paint a lot, but I did do a couple of paintings, couple of sketches. What I don't know, I was thinking what I want to do in maybe January, or I don't know, I just, when I felt to paint, I just painted a little bit when I feel up to it. So I wanted to share with you a couple of pages. It's, as I said, not really a lot. So these are, this one I actually did a video tutorial, this one in a larger format. So this is in my sketchbook. I decided to do a little bit more of the sketchbooks because I wanted to do these smaller thumbnails and just give it a try to see the composition, how it all looked before I start with the larger painting. And you know, what I've noticed is that when I do this smaller formats, when I do a paint in my sketchbook, it's kind of easier. Even if I have just a little bit of the time, I just sit and do a little small thumbnail, and I do feel a lot better than when I don't paint anything at all in the day. So I guess it's good practice. It just keeps you in the mood for painting, keeps you inspired. So that's maybe something that I've decided to do a little bit more. That's a New Year's decision, not really, but you know, I decided to do a little bit more of the sketchbooks. I'm not really a sketchbook person. I don't do a lot in sketchbooks, maybe just something, I just try something out, but I don't have a nice sketchbook. My sketchbooks are all horrible, so I'm not really up to sharing those. But this one I really do like, and I like how I started that one, so I decided to share it with you. This is actually a sketchbook from Etchr. And I will link it in the description if you want to check it out. I do like the papers. It has quite a tooth here, and I do like it for landscapes and just trying things out. And this one, again, it's, you can see how it's all really winter inspired, a lot of trees and some cabins. That's what I was up to painting, and a little bit more of the, I don't know, winterish foliage, flowers, however you like to call it. So maybe if you see some of the paintings that you like in this sketchbook, maybe you want me to recreate it in a larger format in a tutorial, just let me know. I will definitely think about it and maybe even do it. And here I was actually trying out the salt, and with to paint this with the salt, but it just did not work. The salt just did not leave any texture on these watercolors. And here also I wanted to do a salt effect. Again, did not work at all. I was using the same color. That's, I believe, from my I think that's from the Sky, or it's from the Cozy. Maybe that's a Cozy second edition. This is the, yeah, that one. I did not write here the names, just a second. This warm blue from the Cozy second edition. It just doesn't work with salt. So if you got my paints and want to try a salt effect with them, it just doesn't work with salt. So I decided to use all of my all of my paints that I made lately. This is Cozy second edition, Earth, Sky. Those colors were in a last batch of sales. I think some Earth and Cozy are still available. Sky sold out. Cozy, this is from the last year Cozy, Autumn and Winter, and I did wanted to see if they're gonna work with the salt and how they act with the salt. So I did do swatches and use salt on top of it, just to know in the future how it will look with the salt. So I guess, you know, that's something that you can do. You can just get your paints, whatever paints you have. You don't have to have the same paints as I do. Of course, they're my paints. Whatever paint you do, just make a swatch and try salt with it. And of course, when you add paint on the paper, you have to put salt straight away on top of it, not leave it too dry. So I did that. I did try some salt effect. Some I did not really do the best. I guess I used a little bit too I know I used a little bit less water than I should have for this one, so maybe the texture would be a little bit stronger also for this one. This one I do actually like the texture. It's not this sort of very, very strong and visible, but it's subtle, and I do like the textures with the salt here and also here. So I do know now how my paints behave with the salt, and I know on which paints I should be using salt and with which paints I should not be using salt. And this is the one that I used here for this painting, and it just doesn't work with salt. It just doesn't work with salt. And now I have here the last one. This one I did I think this week, not really sure which day. It's been, I also divided it into a couple of days. I did not paint it in one day because it just takes too much energy right now. I'm just still recovering, so I can't really sit for hours and paint, and you wouldn't believe how much time it does take to do one page on the sketchbook, or you do, maybe you do that. So you do know I actually really did not do that before. So I will sit and do one painting, and I did not do these mini paintings and sketchbook paintings. So it's a very, very nice thing to explore and to just try some new things out, and just to see how your paints react with water, how they react with salt. So definitely something I do advise you to do, to get a sketchbook and just try it. Maybe that will also help you to, I don't know, to relax painting, and help you to, I do know when we get, at least I did, when I got some little bit more expensive papers, and I was gonna paint on it. I had such a huge scare, such a huge I'm not sure how to say that in English. Well, I was kind of scared to ruin my papers, so I was too cautious, and it never just turned out nice. I wasn't relaxed and just painting how it ever came to me. So I guess this sketchbook is something that you can use for trials and errors, and just to learn about your paints, to learn about your brushes, and just to relax and have an easier and more relaxed painting session when you start to paint. Here I have prepared a couple of one actually page, sketchbook page, and a couple of little thumbnails to do. I do have sort of an idea what I want to do, and I'm not really sure how it all will turn out, but you know, that's just an idea. I will just, you know, I think I've talked enough. I should just start, and you know, you can see me in action. You can see me just filling out one page in my sketchbook. So let's get started. I will also spray my paints just to, I'm not even sure which paints I want to use, so I'm just spraying everything. I have here my brushes also. Of course, I'm using a smaller brushes because this is a smaller scale painting and I'm using smaller brushes. First, I will get some clean water and I will just start with this little thumbnail. Just water it down. And you know, I've imagined this, I did not really, I thought of this video to be really a tutorial. It's gonna be a little bit more chit-chatty video. Maybe you have a little bit more time now on holidays, and I guess it's something out of the ordinary. What I do usually with my tutorials, I thought I could do something like this, just share a day in a painting with you, and you know, just let me know if that's something you like or maybe not. I would really like to know how you feel about this sort of video. I'm just thinking what I want to change maybe next year, or do I want to change anything in the next year in my videos. So I guess this is something that I wanted to see how it would fit you. So I'm just mixing here this one is turquoise. I'm mixing some turquoise, some sky blue, and here I believe I have some left over from this dark brown. So let's just put that in. It's maybe too dark. I did not want it to make it so blue. So like that, just adding it, that blue. And then I will just pick up a smaller brush, this one, detail brush. And I'm gonna pick up some brownish, dark brown. And I'm gonna also pick up this lighter brown. And first I will start with the lighter brown. I'm gonna go just here on the edges. And you can tilt your paper to help the paint bleed in the directions you want to bleed. You want to have it bleed. I actually have a microphone on the right here. So that's actually left. Yeah. Well, I guess that issue of mine with sides will never go away. So I do have a microphone there. It's kind of making it impossible for me to lift up my sketchbook, or maybe not, just a little bit to help it bleed on the sides. And I'm gonna soften here, just make it a little bit more. You're probably wondering, what is she painting right now? What she's painting right now? Yeah, you saw the thumbnail, you know what I'm painting. So like that. And now I will get that darker brown and I will just put it in some couple of spots. Maybe not all the way on the edges, like that. Somewhere a little bit more saturated, somewhere a little bit less. I hope this microphone is not too loud. I'm just gonna move it a little bit. I'm just really next to it. So maybe it's, you know, hitting in your ears. You can always, I guess, bring down the sound if it's too much for you, like that. I really do like that. You know, I do love to paint books. You probably already know that if you're following my channel and me. And this vintagey look, it's really something I love to do. So like that. I like that. I will just get a little tiny bit of the blue I used. This is again one little bit smaller brush, I'm just gonna tap in. You can cover around your square if that's what you like that, just to add a little bit more of the texture. And I will get that blue and I will put it here because I do want to have the swatch of that blue here, like that, just for some interest, visual interest on the page and for the composition. And now I will also add the brown I used. This is a lighter brown. Like that. And I will also get a little bit darker brown I used, and I'm gonna put that one here. Like that. Kind of cute. So those are the colors we used in this one, and I will leave this to dry right now and finish it off later on. And let's just move on. I'm just thinking which one I want to do now. I think I'm gonna do this one, but I'm just still thinking what I want to do about it. I think I'm gonna do a couple of trees here. My tablet is... I'm using reference photos from Pinterest, so you know, just adding a bit more, maybe some touch of mine to it. Again, I'm just getting some clean water and, well, clean. Not really sure if it's 100% clean, but some water. So I'm just gonna wet that one now, because first I want to add, I will painting some trees here, and I want to add a bit of the paint in the background and some a little bit blurred trees, so like that. Added the water, and I will on top add again a little bit of that same blue I used here, and just gonna paint in the sky, and also here it's gonna be my ground. Like that, just to add a little bit of the paint to step away from the white. Like that. And I'm gonna pick up just a tiny bit of brown and mix that in. Add that brown here for some fog maybe in the distance, like that. And then again, gonna use a smaller brush, and I will paint in using that lighter brown and using a darker brown, mix those two together, and I will put a tiny bit of the black also here, and just gonna do some trees in the background, like that. Just the notion of some trees. Those trees are gonna be blurred, as I said earlier. So this is quite small thumbnail, so I do want to make everything kind of smaller. And some details here. Like that, just stopping in, just playing around. I'm not really being too serious with this painting. A little bit, I just got a little bit of the black, and I'm just gonna put it here just a tiny bit. Like that. And I will add a bit more of the pigment and a bit more, I guess, not so blurred and sharper trees when this dries, like that. That's gonna be for now. We'll leave this to dry. This is still drying, and while this one is also drying, we can move on to this one. So for this one, I will paint a little, I guess, again, a cabin. And again, I will start, you know what, actually, I did wanted to do something here before I move on. I will get a little bit of that, again, blue I used here, and I will just put in a little detail on this side. Again, a swatch, but slightly different. I will now do this one. As I said, this is going to be a little house. So first, again, I will wet that little thumbnail size square, so like that. You just let me know in the comments. I'm not sure if I said that already. If I haven't, well, just let me know what you think about this sort of videos. Do you like them or not? Do you want me to do more of those? I know a lot of you have been saying to me that you do wanna more of those. It's just, you know, usually when I paint, I paint a lot quicker, and it's just hard to find the time to do a painting like this in one sitting. So I'm just adding a horizon line. You could have seen that. When I have a little bit more of the water in my brush and a little bit more of the paint, when I put it here on the edge, it just bleeds on both sides a little bit more. And in the center, I'm just doing one line, so one stroke, and the bleeds are gonna be a little bit smaller. So like that, I'm gonna just tap in a little bit more of the paint just to create some horizon lines. And also I do want to add a bit more details here. I'm gonna place my house here, so I'm gonna put a little bit more of the details around the house. And also I'm gonna get that brown tone and put in some brownish, maybe some bushes or something like that here around my house. So like that, just preparing everything for my house. And also I'm gonna paint in a couple of trees, so I will actually pick up a little bit of that lighter brown, and I'm gonna put in just a couple of drop-ins of paint here. I'm gonna later on place here some branches and trees, so maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing to do to draw in that house here. I did not do that, again, just to have the sketch for yourself later on. So this is gonna be it for now. For the last one here, I will leave this to dry, and this is again also, this is almost dry, but this is drying and this is drying. First I'm gonna do everything, every thumbnail, every little painting at the background, then I'm gonna do all the details. I'm gonna go back and do the details. So for the last one here, I did wanted to do some bokeh. I'm gonna do some flowers with the bokeh, but first again I'm gonna do the same thing as I did previously. I'm gonna wet this part. So this is going to be blues and browns. This page are going to be blues and browns. What can I say? I love blues and browns. Skies and earth, trees. That's how I called my paints, you know. Sky and earth. Like that. So there you go. And now I will, this set I was using, this is earth, and browns are from the earth and blues are from the sky. And again I'm gonna do the same thing. But this time I'm gonna pick up just a tiny bit more of the blue. This is a sky blue, and I'm gonna put that sky blue mostly first at the edges, corners, like that. This time I do want to have a bit more of the pigment. I don't want to make so light my background because I'm planning to do some bokeh effect, and what's the point of the bokeh effect if the paint is very, very light? The bokehs won't be visible as much. So I picked up a little bit of the water just to move in the paint like that. And again I will pick up a little bit more of that blue, add it at the corners. My paper is starting to warp, so it's gonna have some. That's my husband coughing, if you heard that. He's actually also sick. You know, we got something, but I hear everybody is sick. With whomever I speak, everybody is coughing and sniffling. Is it sniffling? And you know, just I guess we were just so protecting ourselves these couple of last years, so everything is coming to payment now. All those little viruses and bacteria just waiting to come back. There you go. And I just want to pick this one straight up because I don't want any splatters on my other thumbnails. You can definitely use some this is just a clean water. I'm just splattering some clean water. You can use some towels to cover it when you do this, like that. And then I'm gonna get this smaller brush and I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of that blue, and I'm gonna pick up just a tiny bit of the black, and I'm gonna put that at the corners. Not, well, I think I went overboard with the black. Just gonna put it. I do love how it looks, so I will just put even though it might look out of the place here, I like that. So this is kind of a little bit different than the other ones, but I will connect it when I start adding some paints around. So like that, and also just again to connect them, I will get a little bit of that lighter brown, mix it in here with the darker brown, and I'm just gonna do a couple of splatters. Just to have that brownish tone also in this painting, and to, you know, to not make this one stand out so much. So I will leave this also now to dry, and when this all is dry, we will come back and do the details. So I've now actually dried that with a hair dryer, and I will just move on with my painting. First we will start with this one. This is going to be a little text, and I'm thinking which color I want to use for the text. I have actually here, just a second, I have this marker. This is a distress marker from Ranger, and I think I'm gonna write text with that one. Let me just check. So yeah, it's not really working super properly, but I like how it also creates little broken lines. So I'm gonna start here and write in winter. Fairy tale. Into a fairy tale, and I'm gonna put in a couple of little snowflakes like that, and some like this. Some top-ins. I'm just enjoying myself topping in a bit, so like that again. Like that, embellishing a little bit, and I will also go over the top on top of my text. Make it slightly thicker. So enter fairy tale like that. So that's gonna be our text, and you know what, I'm gonna just move this, and I'm gonna get a little bit more of the paint, mix in just a couple of splatters, because I think this distress marker is also not really water resistant. So if I tap on top of it, it will, you can see how it just bleeds, but that's fine because I like that little also bleeds around it like that. I do have here some dots that I made. I'm gonna tap in on top. It will just again slightly soften and bleed like that, and we can get a little bit of the brownish and just do a couple of splatters like that. I'll see if I want to add something else on top, maybe some black on top of the text and edges. I will see that later on. For now, I'm gonna leave it to dry, and I'm gonna move on to this one. So let's now just paint in the trees, and I will start with the lighter brown, and I'm gonna first do the, I'm gonna paint in just a couple of trees. I'm gonna do the tree trunk for the first one, like that. It's gonna be slightly broken. I'm just feathering out the bottom part and just gonna put in a little bit of the darker brown, like that. And now I will just do the branches, and for the branches I'm using this lighter brown, and also I will add just a tiny bit of the dark brown. So don't mind the imperfections of this painting. As I said, it's not really meant to be a tutorial. This is just my sketchbook day with me in the sketchbook. A little bit of that darker brown I'm just gonna tap in here and there on the branch, and if it started to dry, the paint is minded, I'm just gonna feather it out a little bit like that. So let's just move on to, that's probably, there is probably a lot better way to do this, but in a brush, but I'm just quite happy with that right now. So just tapping in. Like that. And again, I'm gonna get a little bit more of the brown. Just gonna tap in here and there, that darker brown. Like that. This is not going to be a pine tree, it's gonna be, I don't know, some different type of tree. Like that. That's gonna be our first one, and I'm gonna put in tree trunk, add a bit more of the tree trunk where it's visible. So here in these parts, like that, and also feather it a bit out, and maybe add a bit more of the details around the tree. You can just always pick it up with your paper towel if you think it's necessary, like that. And I'm just gonna use a clean water also, and I'm gonna go on the bottom side of my branches and just again feather that part out. I'm gonna leave the upper part of the branches a little bit more sharper, and the bottom part of the branches I'm gonna feather out a bit, just with the clean water, like that. So that's gonna be the first tree. I'm gonna do one here and I'm gonna do one here. So for the second one, I'm gonna again start with the trunk, but this time I'm gonna use a little bit more of the black for the trunk, and I'm gonna place it a little bit lower. So something like that. It's gonna be the second one, and just going upwards, maybe slightly tilting like that. And I'm gonna again pick up some lighter brown, some darker brown, mixing it too, and just add a tiny bit of the black this time, just to make it slightly different tone, like that. So I'm gonna start again doing the same thing, just gonna a little bit more of the black I do want here to create a different tone. So like that, and on the other side also. You don't have to connect all of those lines you're putting in there. So like that, and a bit more of the black. So just adding a little bit of the lighter parts, and a little bit of the darker parts. You can just always get a clean towel, and if you think you have the excess paint, so like that. I'm gonna tap in a bit, maybe add some of the a bit more of the paint to some parts. Like that. Like that, and I'm gonna paint the tree trunk now a little bit more saturated, especially in these parts where it's visible, and again feather out at the bottom, and later on also add a bit more of the details around it, some top pins. It's too much. So I'm not even sure how long this video is already. My camera just stops occasionally, so I know I've turned it on a few times already, so I really have no idea how long this is. So that's gonna be the second one, and I'm gonna paint in the third one. And for the third one also I will first put in the tree trunk, and this one is going to be tilted, and it's gonna go like that. So like that. And now I will just again put in the branches, and then on top add, and later on finish off with a tree trunk. So these are gonna be a little bit again more on the brown. This one was a bit black, this one is going to be on the brown side. So let's just dive into it, and how it turns out. This one is going to have a bit more of the branches concentrated on the left side, less on the right. So like that. And again, I will pick up a little bit of the black and a little bit of the darker brown, mix those two together and just add a bit on, just to create some highlights and shadows, you know, like that. Then next one, and just putting in the branches like that. This one is also, as you could have seen, the darkest. Like that, and then pick up that brown tone. You know, when it all dries, it becomes lighter, so it won't be as dark when it dries. But it's gonna be the darkest of them all. A bit more of the lighter brown. So like that. Going up, I will make them a little bit lighter. And it's also going to be the tallest. A bit more of that black mix. Like that. I think that's going to be just fine, and I will just again use a tiny bit of the clean water and soften the bottom part of my branches. I do believe it creates this nicer, softer look. You can also pick up a little bit of the paint in between your branches and on the branches. That's what you like. Like that. Just add a bit more of the details. I will get just a tiny bit of the black and put it also just in a couple of spots. Here the paint is still wet, so it's gonna bleed one into each other and like that. And also I do want to make my tree trunk more visible, so I will just add more of the pigment there, a bit more black. Like that, and then feather it out at the bottom. Like that. And I will add a few of the details to the bottom, or just some grasses peeking through here and there. I don't really like how this turned out to be. I want to move that. It's because they were just too thick. And I'm gonna leave this to dry a bit and then add. And then a couple of more details, just topping in. With my brush, just adding maybe some bushes, or again grass is peeking through, the snow. like that. You can always use a paper towel and pick up a bit of the paint. And I have learned that it's quite fun doing these thumbnail little paintings. Like that. So I think I quite like that, and I'm gonna do a couple of splatters because I do want some random placed details. Like that. So that's gonna be it. With my second, and you can see how this now bled and just created, I don't know, I like the effect. Is it still visible what it says? I think it is visible what it says. Maybe I can get a little bit of the blue here and just go around it with the blue, or next to it, just add a bit more of the details with the blue. And maybe some sort of shadowing or something like that. Fairy tale, like that. And I guess for the third one, I said I want to do a house, a little house with some trees. So I will place that now, and I really won't worry myself too much with it. The house is going to be brown, and I will be using this a little bit. I guess no. Actually, I will paint the house blue. And I will use these colors that I used here, so it just connects those two paints. And I'm gonna do the house like that, and then the roof like that. I won't be worried too much about the shape of my house, like that. And I will put in a few details just to make it a little bit more interesting. I'm not sure, this is not really same height. Like that. It's gonna be better. Just gonna put in feather the bottom out, and a little bit more of the blue here, maybe at the top side, like that. That's gonna be the house. And I will just leave that to dry, and then add in a couple of details, windows. Just picked up a little bit of the black. I'm gonna put in tiny bit of the black here on the roof, and just to create some details to the house like that. And now I will leave this to dry, and while this dries I'm gonna do a couple of trees, and for the trees again I'm gonna use black and brown. And I want to be somewhat precise now, so just gonna add in a couple of trees. I'm not pressing hard with my brush, very, very gently. Just adding in those lines. They don't have to all be connected fully like that, but I'm being very, very careful this time and just doing a very, very light pressure using like that. And I'm gonna put in one more tree trunk. Like that, and then again very, very light pressure. You just have to make sure that you don't have too much paint also in your brush. Like that. And maybe do one tree going behind the house. This one is somewhere behind, but it's kind of peeking through like that. Like that. And I'm also gonna do a couple of them on the other side of the house. So again, being quite careful. Don't want my branches to be too thick, so I'm just using a very light pressure, and I'm not having a lot of paint in my brush. So this is going to be one more, and I'm gonna do one more tree. This one is going to be a little bit thicker at the bottom. So again, being very careful. Make sure you don't have too much paint in your brush. Very, very light pressure. Like that. And one more maybe peeking through again behind the curtain, behind the house. Just gonna add that one. Couple of branches also like that. So that's gonna be around the house, but I will just add a bit more of the bush here on one, and also on the other side in front of the house a bit. So just like that. There you go. And I think that's going to be enough. I will just add a tiny bit of the paint after this slightly dries. Just a few top-ins. I did put here a couple, but I do want to add a bit more. But until then, I will just get some black and do a few windows on the house. First, just gonna put in some shades, and I'm gonna put in one window here and put in the second one here. Clean my brush and a bit better, and then just soften them a bit, maybe pick up a little bit of the paint. On both of them. Like that. I'm sorry. I'm kind of, you know what, I want to add one more here, so like that. Maybe a couple of more details to the house, like that. There you go. Maybe that's gonna be enough. And I'm just gonna get this little bit bigger brush, pick up some of the brownish, and just top in here. A couple of top ins around my trees, like that. And that's gonna be enough. That's gonna be enough. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the white when this dries, but I'm gonna leave it to dry. And we can just move on to the last one. And the last one I'm gonna keep quite simple. I will be using this brush from Lebenson. I do like that brush for the, I guess, the details I will do here. Gonna pick up a little bit, actually I'm gonna use a bit bigger brush to pick up the paint. Again, mix it here. This is going to be a lighter blue, and I'm gonna add a bit of the brown to that lighter blue. That's turquoise, so like that. A bit more of the brown, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of the blue. You can mix all of that here, and let's just get into it. I'm gonna put in a couple of branches like that, and some here. I love how the branches look with this brush, so they can look quite natural. A bit more of the blue. I'm just gonna add in that winter feel. As I said, I'm gonna keep it quite simple. Do a couple of those branches, a bit more of the blue mixed in, like that. And do a few of them. You know, this is quite tiring now, but also my heart is kind of full. I feel so lucky doing what I do, guys, thanks to you. And you know, without you, there wouldn't be this channel, and I wouldn't be able to do what I love to do. So I want you to know that I appreciate your support, and your every like and comment and watch, because this is what keeps the channel alive and kicking, and I do appreciate that a lot. I'm just tapping here with the tip of my brush, just adding a little bit of the, I don't know, others florals or just some leaves maybe, like that. Quite simple. And here I'm gonna tap in a couple like that. It's just dancing in the wind. Like that. Few of the details like that, and I will get, actually I'm gonna get this brush. I do need a little bit smaller, so I will just add in here, just gonna do circles, and with my, this is just a clean water in this brush, and with the paper towel I'm just picking it up. So just creating those bokehs, and again you have to make sure that your paper, your paint is the one that you can lift, because if you can't lift it you won't be able to do this effect. So also go on top of the branches and just get some of the paint off, and this is going to be a process until I get everything what I like out. Quite simple way actually to do a bokeh effect, and your lines are going to be, edges are gonna be soft, so some are gonna be smaller, some a bit bigger, some are gonna be lighter, some are gonna be darker. So just have fun here. This is going to be fun and relaxing. I want this one to go a bit outside the edges like that. So don't be afraid to add them. Just put them in your bokehs. Hopefully I'm still recording. I guess it is recording. So like that, a bit here, half one. It's not going to be visible all the way. I'm going to do a smaller one here, maybe one more smaller one here also. I'm going to put in one larger here, a smaller. So just make sure you don't have too much water in your brush. I'm just, every time I pick up the water, I dry it slightly onto my paper towel. I don't want too much. You can also make your dots intersect in some parts. like that, and then I'll do a few here. My mouth is drying out from all the talking. I haven't been, I think I haven't talked this much. I don't know how long. So like that. So like that. What do you think, guys, huh? Is it enough? Is this enough? Like that. And I said I will add a little bit of the white to these windows. So that's what I'm gonna do, and maybe a tiny bit of the white also to the house. Maybe some snow. Like that, and maybe here also. You know what, I'm not gonna put in white there, I don't want that, but I will put in a few white dots here just to make them slightly more visible. They're not gonna be that visible. Actually, I'm gonna do a few splatters with white. On the last one. Here. Like that. And maybe I could do a couple here. And one more thing I want to do. Here, I'm gonna put in a little bit of the brown. That here, and I'm gonna do one more line next to this one, for my swatch. Right, for the swatch, a little bit of the brown. Just gonna put them together like that. And that's gonna be it. What do you think, guys? Maybe I would add, just to connect again those, add a bit of the blue here at the bottom. No, because I don't want this one to be fully disconnected from all the others, even though I did use that blue like that. There you go. Just add a tiny bit of that blue tone. Also in the other paintings, we'll just connect them all like that. Soften, and I will get a little bit more of the blue, and maybe just put it here on my winter fairy tale, and then just again soften it to put to connect it all, and soften it. There you go. so it doesn't really stand out that much. A little bit of the smaller brush, and I will just put in with a smaller brush, and then just again soften the edge. I have to use a bigger brush for the softening. It just doesn't work with that small brush. There you go. Yeah, so it just, that color repeats in a few places, so it doesn't look a lot out of the place here, like I've done it completely out of the blue, like that. What do you think? Should I be adding a little bit of the black also to the text? I will add a little bit of the black, so it gets a little bit more attention. Like that. Do you think that looks better? I think I like it better. It just stands out a bit more. And I will get a bit of the black with this brush and do a few splatters like that, and I think that's gonna be nice. Now a little bit more of the splatters here to these florals, and that's gonna be it. Done. I'm not gonna do anything more. The sun is here, so it's saying it's enough. You've done enough, and I'm taking over your table. You have to finish off. So yeah, one more thing. Actually, I did wanted to do that, just forgot. I'm gonna put in a bit of the black to the edges, not all the way. But some. There you go. Now it's done. So we're done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a slightly different video than I usually do. I do admit that. And well, I guess I did notice something. I want to do a view like that. That's gonna be done. So it's slightly unusual video. I don't think I've ever done a sketchbook video, so I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do like it, please hit the like button, share it of course, and comment. I would love to hear what you think about this sort of videos. And do you use your sketchbook? Do you paint in your sketchbook? Do you practice in your sketchbook? That would be awesome. I would really love to hear that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I wasn't too boring and bored you. And again, thank you so much for watching, for all your support, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.